back to We Express TV. I'm your host Rebecca, and today we are here back to tell you guys about can you apply to scholarships in Japan if you are only learning Japanese in Japan. So it is actually kind of a tricky question. So we actually got a question regarding to this topic as well. So today in this video, we are going to talk about the programs and scholarships that allow you to apply as a student learning Japanese in Japan. So it's kind of complicated and a lot of things to do. So we are only going to talk about requirements for JASO and MEX in this video, and we are going to talk about the process and other stuff in another video as well. So without further ado, let's get started. So first, we are going to talk about the programs that allow Japanese studies students to apply for MEX, and MEX stands for Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science in Japan. So it is actually the quite of a major public scholarship that you can apply to in Japan. So first of all, we are going to talk about two scholarships that you can apply, and that is apply from university that you are going to study at, and also the other one is apply from your local Japan embassy. So first, if you want to get nominated from the university you are going to study at with this MEX scholarship, there are a few requirements that you have to fulfill to be able to apply to this. So first, the tricky part of this program is you have to be on some kind of exchange program or study abroad program from the college you are currently attending. So for example, if you're a UC student, we have UC EAP, so you cannot apply by yourself. And the other requirements for this program are that your country needs to be on good terms with Japan, and also you have to be under 30 years old and above 18 years old, which is after high school, before 30. Makes sense? And the very important part of this is the academic requirements for this scholarship. So the academic requirements are you are currently enrolled in a 4-year university and a major in Japanese studies or related major. It can be the language part, and it can also be like the say history or anything, but it has to be Japanese studies. And the other one is you have to learn Japanese officially over a year till 2022 September 1st. And for this learn Japanese officially over a year, how can you prove that? You need to have a transcript. It says that you are actually already took the lessons, courses at your university for over a year. So that's the proof that you have to have. Or you have some kind of outside lesson. You also have to have a proof to prove you already study it over a year. And lastly, the other requirement is the Japanese part. So the Japanese requirements for you will be pass JLPT N2, or the university that you're currently enrolled in can prove that you have the level of Japanese equivalent to N2. So I would totally recommend to just take JLPT, and since that after you come to Japan, you will have to be living in Japan and use Japanese all the time. So we would definitely recommend you to study Japanese anyways. But definitely, I would say passing N2 would be the easier way to prove that you are able to study at a Japanese university. Okay, so other than requirements, you are probably interested in the actual amount, and the amount of the scholarship is 117k yen a month for a year, only a year. So most likely, the study program, like the exchange program for most of the university all over the world will be a year, like half a year to a year. So it makes sense that it's only, apply for you for a year. And then for all the requirements, I would say that definitely, check with your college, check with the college you are going to, and also to check MEX website as well, just to make sure that everything is okay, and then be very careful, since there are some really specific requirements as well, and it depends on the university. But most likely, as long as you're in an exchange program or study abroad program, and you don't have any legal guardian in Japan, you will be able to apply to this. And even if you have one, as long as I think this legal guardian or someone that's paying for you doesn't have the salary, yearly salary of over 5 million yen, then you'll be fine. And for the airfare, there are some requirements for the airfare as well, but if you're going to at the right time with the right airport, which is the closest airport that you have, and then maybe only a month or a few weeks before like school starts, most likely they will be paying for your airplane ticket as well. And lastly, the caution about this program will be, since the program is solely for the purpose of learning Japanese and the culture, you will not be able to enroll in a university right after. So it means that your visa is going to expire first, and then you have to go back to your home country and come back again. And applying again to Max will also be prohibited like right afterwards. So you probably have to wait for a few months and such. So I think it is a little bit tricky, but since this program is solely for the purpose of learning Japanese and the culture, I guess it makes sense. So yeah, that is the one if you want to be nominated from the university you're currently studying at. And the second one is applying from your local Japan embassy. So the requirements are very similar to the above, but for this one, since you are nominated by the embassy, your embassy will decide which university you are enrolling in after a written examination and also taking into consideration of your preferred courses. So meaning that you cannot choose your own university. You have to say yes to whichever university that they assign you to. So I think it is a bit tricky, but then the better part of this one is you don't have to be in any kind of exchange program. You can just apply to it if you want to go. It's just like maybe you will be assigned to a more like in the countryside university, or you can be very lucky to be in Tokyo or like other metropolitan cities in Japan. So it is a bit tricky, but then if you don't really care about which university you're enrolling to, you don't really care about if you're in the countryside or in the city, then I think this one is something we will recommend to you as well. And also, you do not need to have a JLPT N2 for this one. As long as you can prove you will be able to receive a education at a Japanese university, you'll be fine. So I guess I wouldn't say this one is like easier to apply to, but you are not limited to being in the exchange program. So I think that's a lot like good parts of this scholarship. And the third one is you cannot already have a visa, meaning you have to newly obtain a student visa to be eligible for this scholarship. Like you cannot be on like working holiday, you cannot be on like the training program. You cannot have any visa other than the tourist one, which is like you don't have to apply to most likely. You will need to be able to have a new student visa to be able to apply to this scholarship for Max. So these are the two Max scholarships that you can apply to if you're actually not enrolling to a four-year university or any like vocational school in Japan when you're only learning Japanese. So I would say if you only want to learn Japanese, it is harder to find anything other than this kind of without exchange program or without nomination processing. So I think it's a bit harder, but I would say definitely try it first because it is like 11万 a month, so that's a lot. You can definitely pay for your rent, and then I would say like other than paying for rent, if you are able to find a part-time job saying that you can work like 28 hours for a week as an exchange student, as a student visa owner, I would say it's totally plenty of money. Yes, so definitely do it. Okay, moving on to the next part. So what about JUSO? I think a lot of people know about JUSO as well, and JUSO is also a very major public scholarship that you can take into, and the name of this scholarship is Monbu Kagakusho Honors Scholarship for Privately Financed International Students. So please you have to highlight the privately financed international students, meaning you're not already receiving any kind of public scholarship from your country or your university. And for this one, the eligibility of this scholarship is that the candidate is enrolled as a full-time student in an advanced course in an undergraduate school, junior college, or college of technology in Japan, or like preparatory Japanese language program. So you have to already be in Japan. And the other one is the candidate is enrolled as a full-time student in a university preparatory course in an educational institution in Japan with the objective to enroll in a university. And the third one is the candidate is enrolled in a Japanese language institute with the objective to advance to an undergraduate school, graduate school, junior college, college of technology, or specialized course in a specialized training college in Japan. So you have to be in Japan already, and you have to also be in some kind of program that is, trying to prepare you for enrolling in an undergraduate school or graduate school or any kind of like vocational school. So the purpose for this scholarship is a little bit different from the max one, because this one is for people who are trying to enroll in a four-year university or any kind of other program. Like people here are trying to get a diploma in Japan, but you are currently enrolled in some kind of preparational courses, like teaching you Japanese. And that's a little tricky because it's a bit different. And the other condition for this one is that the candidate must have a GPA of 2.30, which is not very hard, I would say, or more at graduate or undergraduate level of the Japanese Language Institute in the previous academic year. So you will not be able to apply to this scholarship before coming to Japan. And in cases where the evaluation cannot be expressed in the form of GPA, the candidate's evaluation result must be equivalent or higher at each of the mentioned levels. And the second one is the candidate must meet the required condition of Japanese or English languages, except the candidates who are in a Japanese language program to prepare, for the enrolling into other university and schools. So for Japanese requirement is that those who have passed N2 level or higher in JLPT, and those who have a score of 200 points or more in Japanese as a foreign language of EJU. And EJU is examination for Japanese university admission for international students, so it's Nihon Ryugaku Shiken. And those who are above the language level separately recognized by JASO, and you also have to have an English level of above B2 level or higher in CEFR. So I think that's a little bit tricky because you have to have both unless you're enrolled in like Nihongo Gakko, which is Japanese school. But then for this one, it's a little bit more lenient in my opinion. So I think if you're actually aiming for enrolling into a four-year university or other vocational school training school, but you're currently already learning Japanese in Japan, I would say definitely try it first, because the scholarship amount for a month will be 3만 yen, which is 30K, and then it will be 12 months or 6 months. So I would definitely recommend to you, if you're actually currently in Japan, enrolling into a Japanese school or any kind of preparatory courses for international students at any university in Japan, please do take a look into this Mongo Gakusho Under Scholarship for Privately Financed International Student. We're gonna put the URL in the description as well. Alright, and other than this one, JASO also have another scholarship for exchange students. It's called Student Exchange Support Program Scholarship for Short-Term Study in Japan. So short-term meaning that it's from 8 days to 1 year between Japanese school and their home higher educational institution outside of Japan. So this is something for people who are only here for less than a year, meaning that you cannot stay here over for a year. Like if you do want to stay here over for a year, you have to go back to your home country and come back again. Alright, and then eligibility for this one is students from all countries that have diplomatic relations with Japan. And students from Taiwan and Palestine are acceptable as well, even if they're still, diplomatic relations, but you guys know like it's complicated. And the second one is students accepted by Japanese schools under a student exchange program or other arrangement with their home school, which like UCAP for example. And then students eligible for student visa. And the student visa is for study in Japan for 90 days or less. Japanese school will arrange the status of residence. Okay, what does that mean? That means that if you're here for let's say 2 months or like a month, you cannot usually, apply to the student visa. But if you're actually here for like 2 months for the Japanese like exchange program, something like that, the school will actually arrange the status for you. And lastly is the students demonstrating excellent academic and personal records at their home school. I don't know the excellent level. I don't know like their standard for excellent. I think it will be maybe like, in my opinion, maybe like GPA 3.5 maybe. Yeah, so you actually have to have great scores at your home school as well. And the amount of this scholarship is a monthly scholarship of 8만 yen, which is 80K yen in Japan, and I think that is also plenty if you're actually working part-time as well. So I would definitely recommend to also look into this one if you're an exchange student, already have a program, and you are thinking to apply to any kind of scholarship. This one, JASO Student Exchange Support Program, is the one that you should go look into it. So we're gonna put all the URLs in the description, and please do take a look and let us know if this kind of informational, study abroad informational video is helpful, and we will make more videos on study abroad as well. And thank you guys for watching today. I'm Rebecca from We Expat TV, and please do also follow us on Instagram, We Expat Japan. See you guys next time.